The punishing heat of India. This year's record-breaking heat wave, harsher, longer, earlier than ever before. Hospital admissions rising, a deadly sign of what's to come. The dilemma, how to keep people cool without further warming the planet.
एक्चुअली अभी आजकल हीट बहुत ज़्यादा हो गई है, आपको पता है ना, टेम्परेचर इज़ राइजिंग, तो हमारे पास गर्मी में पेशेंट भी आ रहे हैं ज़्यादा. हीट रिलेटेड इलनेस आप लोगों को पता है ना, जिसमें जो डेंजर साइंस हैं, जैसे कि हेडेक हो सकता है पेशेंट को, मसल क्रैम्प्स हो सकते हैं, फीवर हो सकता है, वो तो अनकॉन्शियस स्टेट में आते हैं, तो इनका इमीडिएटली आपको कैसे ट्रीटमेंट करना है ये आपको पता होना चाहिए.
Heat waves are public health emergencies. Keeping people cool is a matter of life and death. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ramped up coal production last month to feed the extra demand for cooling. The irony, of course, the more coal, the hotter it gets, requiring more AC, a deadly feedback loop. But most people in India can't afford any way of keeping cool.
Most settlements in India are characterized by these, tin-roofed houses. And these are, heat-absorbing material. So there's no source of ventilation, and the lanes between these houses are very narrow. They also endure, power cuts, which are more frequent during the summers.
Lives and livelihoods are at stake here in the city of Pune. Sleepless nights have left domestic worker Shahjahan so exhausted and weak, she struggles to work.
अभी जैसे पता नहीं, हर साल गर्मी बढ़ते जा रहा है, बहुत गर्मी हो रही है. एसी लगा नहीं सकते क्यों, तो छोटे छोटे घर है, एसी लगाएंगे तो लाइट बिल ज़्यादा आता है.
Her niece has suffered inflamed and blistering skin from the heat. तो जोया, तुम्हारा स्कूल में क्या-क्या प्रॉब्लम होते हैं गर्मी में?
वो लिखने में परेशानी हो रही थी, तो वो ऊपर फैन भी खराब था ना, स्कूल जाने का मन नहीं करता था.
There's no escape at home or at school.
This is Sharjah's roof, right?
The organization Sea Balance are trailing various sustainable solutions, such as green roofs, which reduce temperatures by up to 8 degrees.
Our whole idea behind coming up with these technologies was to come up with simple, cheap, effective solutions.
Shahjahan's roof was recently covered in aluminium-coated panels.
When the sun rays hit it, it doesn't let the heat to pass. So during the day, we just close it. So it stops the heat, it acts as a radiant barrier, it stops the heat from hitting the roof. When we approach the night, temperature conditions start to drop. So basically the roof is getting exposed to the sky, and the heat transfer is reversed, it's on the opposite direction.
The cooling effect is clear.
कभी सो पाते, दिन का भी सो पा रहे, नहीं तो दिन में तो हम बैठ ही नहीं पा रहे थे रूम में, इतना गर्म था. बहुत आराम होगा वो जो आपका ये लगा है ना.
But as India gets richer, the growing middle class is demanding air conditioning that may keep those inside cool but leak heat-trapping gases, making those outside even hotter. There are 2 billion AC units in use around the world, and India is one of the fastest growing markets.
There are several ways in which we do it. In this particular case, there is a cooling coil here.
This man once worked in the industry, but left to pioneer sustainable ways to keep cool.
I have about 35 innovations so far in my life. But each one of them is capable of changing the world. Efficiency is more than twice of any other cooling system, including water-cooled system, any other system.
At 90, the so-called godfather of cooling has a workshop teeming with devices. But it's not easy taking on big business.
This will disrupt an entire huge industry which has huge investments. So it's not going to give up that thing very easily.
The emergence of heat and humidity, too extreme for human tolerance, has more than doubled in frequency since 1979.
It's not just heat that our bodies struggle to cope with. Throw in humidity as well, and you get something called the wet bulb temperature. If hot air is too humid, our bodies are unable to cool down. A 35 degrees Celsius wet bulb temperature is the absolute upper limit of what our bodies can tolerate. But any wet bulb days above 30 degrees Celsius can be dangerous and deadly. In India, several regions have been edging perilously close to these levels in this year's heat wave.
The BP is very low, he is in shock. This patient has come with loose motions, vomiting, fever, and he is also giving history of exposure in sunlight. लग रहा है पहले से? थोड़ा सा फर्क लग रहा है आपको? कोई आपके साथ में आएगा? It is a condition which can be life-threatening. ठीक हो जाओगे, आप घबराओ मत.
Extreme heat already kills around 1/3 people globally every year. India's heat wave has spanned across 4 scorching months. The length and severity have no doubt been caused by climate change.
Human activity has made such an event 30 times more likely to occur. We are stuck with what we already have, but it's time to pull out all the stops. Otherwise, it's going to be too late for a large segment of the population.
By the end of the century, 3/4 of the world's population is predicted to be exposed to deadly heat stress. How we keep these people cool without ultimately making the problem worse will be one of the biggest and most urgent global challenges.